So, last but not least is your intonation. And flat intonation, in my opinion, is hella boring. Let me explain. So, intonation is a pronunciation feature. That is the ups and downs in your voice. That makes you talk more like a native speaker, even though you are not a native speaker yourself. Greetings, ladies and gents. It's Cường here, back with another video at WESET English Center. So, as an English teacher, the way I see it is mistakes are inevitable, especially in IELTS speaking. So here I am sharing with you some of the tips that I think might be helpful on your way to conquer the IELTS test. Okay, without further ado, let us begin. Tip number 1, self-correction is a good thing. So I've heard of many people say, if you mess something up, just forget it and move on. Well, that is sometimes not the case. So self-correction will make the examiner think that you are aiming for the right language use and the right vocabulary for the context.
Have your leisure activities changed since you were a child?
Not a great deal actually. I used to love play football when I was school. I play them a lot. Although I do all the things that kids love to do, like go out for ride bikes or went out with friends in the weekend.
It's changed a lot actually. So I've been playing video games since I was a child. I'm still playing it now. And ironically, I just switched from PC to console. And unlike a lot of my friends, I have a lot of friends, they quit playing video games because they lead a very busy lifestyle, and they no longer play online games with me. Instead, they start hanging out with each other, and video games is no longer a popular thing anymore. Here are a few quick tips. First of all, you need to slow down. Next, be aware of the tenses that you use. So pay attention to the question that you were asked, and the question is a very good clue. Immediately correct yourself using a number of fillers. I can give you a few examples, like I'm sorry, pardon me, excuse me, or let me say that again. Tip number 2, don't get your examiner waiting. So staying idle for too long and the conversation atmosphere may turn extremely awkward. And here are a few quick tips. Number 1, use certain fillers to help you buy some time. For example, let me think for a second. Wait, that is a very interesting question. Next, be natural when you say those phrases and combine them with certain nonverbal cues. By nonverbal, I mean body language. Maybe follow me, like this, or like this. Just look around and begin your answer. That way, the examiner will think that you are not trying to memorize an example.
What are the people like in your hometown?
They are mostly quite friendly, but as with the big cities, everyone seems to be very busy and are not interested in having any conversation with others. But if you live in this, you will know that they always happy to have a chat with you when they have time, and will help you in case of your needs.
Actually, as far as I know, the people in my hometown, specifically Ho Chi Minh City, they are pretty friendly, even though they do not engage in conversations with strangers that much. Secondly, and this is probably the most unique thing about Ho Chi Minh City, in my opinion, is they are pretty helpful. So for example, you bump into a car accident or a motorbike accident. Strangers who walk across the street, passerby, they will come to help you most of the time. So the third one is try to expand your ideas as much as possible. This is to show that you can speak at length. Okay, so a few quick tips. Answer the question by repeating the question in a more stylish way. Or by that I mean just paraphrase the question. Next up, expand your answer by telling more maybe facts. And there are clues from the previous sentence as well to help you expand your ideas.
Is there much to do in your hometown?
Yes, there is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there are a bunch of things that you can do in a fairly big city like Ho Chi Minh City here. Firstly, if recreational activities is your jam, I suggest you enter some restaurants and bars because this city is teeming with those facilities. And secondly, if you want to engage in cultural activities, there are certain museums that you can visit. The first I could think of is the War Remnants Museum, which is located in District 3. And there are also some local attractions that I think most of you may know are Bun Than Market or Diamond Plaza if you're into shopping, but just don't buy things there because they're pretty expensive and you can buy for way cheaper outside. And that wraps up my answer. So, last but not least is your intonation. And flat intonation, in my opinion, is hella boring. Let me explain. So, intonation is a pronunciation feature that is the ups and downs in your voice that makes you talk more like a native speaker, even though you are not a native speaker yourself. And I know a couple of things that you can do in order to improve this pretty aspect of speaking. And if you know more, don't hesitate to leave it down in your comments. Firstly, try to find an audio or video that matches your level of listening ability and probably your speaking ability as well. Secondly, try to imitate your voice after those native speakers. And you can do that by just watching movies, YouTube, playing video games, because that's what I did, and probably found it most useful. Now, yeah, that's probably it for tip number 4.
Do you read the same kind of books now that you read when you were a child?
Not really, actually, no. I didn't read much book when I was a child, but if I did, it was about fairy tales, things like the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and fairy tales thing.
That's a resounding no. I used to read a lot of fantasy books, namely Harry Potter. I quit reading fantasy books because after graduating from university, I realized the importance of certain books, like business books, where I get to review all those economic knowledge when I was studying back at university. And yeah, that's a complete paradigm shift. Above were some tips that I believe are pretty helpful on your way to master your IELTS speaking. And to wrap up this video, I want to give you some advice. Do not try to achieve perfection in any way, and because even a proficient IELTS candidate cannot achieve that kind of proficiency in all aspects of IELTS speaking. And my point is, just keep practicing. The more you practice, the better you get. Okay, hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subscribe if you loved our videos, and don't forget to stay tuned for our next shot. Thank you.